Director of Membership Services Katie Weber talked with Harvard head coach Ted Minnis about his coaching personality, experiences, and the Harvard men's and women's water polo program.
So first question, how did you get involved in coaching and where did you coach before coming to Harvard?
So I got involved coaching when I was 15. Once I realized I wasn't going to be a professional athlete, and I wanted to do something in athletics, so I decided coaching was going to be the path. Secretly, don't tell anybody, I wanted to be a basketball coach. So I coached both basketball and water polo for a long time, but I kind of wasn't moving up either way, so I had to pick one, and I really loved water polo, so I started coaching my first team in 1990. I coached a boys team at Menlo Atherton High School, and I did that for 7 years, and then I moved over to Castellea School, where I was for 11 years and started coaching with the Stanford club team. And the next thing you know, in 2010, I was hired as the head men's and women's coach here at Harvard.
Great. What is your best moment so far as a coach?
I think for me the best moment's always just in practice and being able to work with my athletes and watch them develop and grow, not only as water polo players but as people. I think those are the most satisfying things when they come back and tell me about a practice that they liked or some situation that they enjoyed and they always remember. I think those are the best parts of coaching, along with the wins and losses. I always will remember those.
Of course, the wins are always icing on the cake, right?
Oh yeah, I don't do this to lose, that's for sure.
How do you structure a typical practice? Like how much time is devoted to conditioning, ball handling, scrimmaging?
So I don't scrimmage a lot. I'm not a big scrimmage coach. I do a lot of things where we'll have a phase of the game we want to work on, and that'll be kind of what we highlight. And we'll start with it broken down into a little piece, maybe a one-on-one drill or a two-on-two or something like that, and keep building it up by numbers into the six-on-six at the end. And we do a lot of one-ways and three-ways. We'll throw in a lot of maybe like 4-minute quarters, we call them, where they have to play at that high level for 4 minutes. But that's about as high of scrimmaging that we'll get. Maybe once, twice a year, we'll get like a full game scrimmage depending on where we are in the season. But I'm big on doing the fundamentals, starting at a small piece and then building it up into that six-on-six.
What is your favorite conditioning drill?
Ooh, you see, that's a good one. I am big on conditioning, and I've been doing a lot of. I think when it comes to doing drills and stuff, you kind of start doing something and you kind of get on liking it for a while, and then you kind of change it up and get onto something different. But lately, for me, it's been a lot of station work, incorporating a lot of abdominal core work, leg work, and shooting. We've been doing a lot of shooting in bands. Just having them pull different directions by their hips and having to work their legs and get tired and have to really think about how they're shooting and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of those kind of station works. We'll go maybe 3 times a week, hour and 15 minutes, maybe 5, 6 stations, 10, 15 minutes a station, and then rotate through it. So I've been doing those lately. Have been my fun ones.
Do you have a favorite swim set that you like to give your players?
So we do it a little different here. I work with the goalies. So I spend the first hour with the goalies, and my assistant coach does the conditioning. And they have a set that they hate that to me means that it must be a pretty good set, and they call it a 4-quarter set. And so it's broken up into 4 sections, and they're talking about the first quarter and going as hard in the first quarter as you would go in the fourth quarter, so really bringing it into a game.
Now, what would the players say that their favorite set or drill is?
I would guess that they would say that their favorite drill is, wow, that's a tough one because they probably hate them all. But I would say that the one that they would probably say is their favorite is, they call it the Cassie set. And it's like the swim set that's probably the hardest one, and they probably hate it but love it. So I would say that's probably the one they're going to say is their favorite. Now for drills, I would kind of go with, we do this one defensive help drill, and we do it every day for 20 minutes. And so just by sheer repetition, I would say that's probably their favorite one. I could
Can
be
you can you kind of explain that a little bit more? Like what goes into the drill?
We would just kind of move the ball around on the perimeter into different spots, and just kind of start with the defense behind that 2 meters, and then just kind of figure out how we're going to get into our help sequence, and then how are we going to counter out of it, and what's going to be the most efficient way, just building that repetition in our help defense.
Great. How important is scouting your upcoming opponents, and what do you typically look for when you're watching other teams play?
So we do a lot of scouting as a coaching staff. The big thing for me that I always talk about, and I talk about with other coaches from other sports even, is how much of that information are you really going to give to your players? I think sometimes we can give a lot of overkill, and they're doing they're thinking about way too much during the game, especially playing in the CWPA. We play multiple games on Saturday and Sunday, so trying to figure out how to get that information to them. So we might talk about 3 teams over the course of the week that we're playing, and then I worry about well, was this for this team or that team, and they kind of start weaving and intertwining together. So that's been like the big. So if you have an answer to how much to give the kids, I would really like that. That's something I would love to know. But we watch the opponents. We want to pick up on their tendencies on offense and defense. Where do they like to run on special teams? Are they a countering team if they're running a counter? Where do they like to run the counter? Do they put the ball up the middle? Do they like putting the ball out to the left or the right? 5-on-6, what are they doing? Are they mobile? Are they just kind of shot blocking? Where do they like to send their X2 shot blocker? Those kinds of things. So we spend a lot of time watching film. With our team, we'll probably watch an hour and 15 minutes a week of film. Mondays are our day of watching film. So I think it's finding that fine line, and especially now, like when I was playing, we didn't have all this video and all this stuff. And when I first started coaching, I'd have like little sheets of paper that I would write like all my notes down and give it to them like that and everything. So everything has kind of evolved in this year of video and social media and all that.
Keep your eyes posted for the second part of our discussion with Harvard head coach Ted Minnis.